Welcome to Concept in Medicine. In today's tutorial, we shall be looking at the characteristics of the jugular venous pulse. That is, characteristics of JVP. We will be using an easy acronym to remember all the characteristics of the jugular venous pulse. So that characteristics with regards to the acronym is what we call the DV vote. So each letter in there connotates to a particular characteristics. So let's run through the characteristics. The first one is that the jugular venous pulse has a double waveform in a sinus rhythm, or simply put, has 2 pulsations per systole. The second one is that the jugular venous pulse varies with position. Third one, it is impalpable. Fourth one, it varies with respiration. Fifth one, it is obliterated by pressure at the base of the waveform. And finally, transient rise in the height of the waveform with abdominal or hepatojugular reflux. Now let's take a look at it one by one. So what we are trying to say with the first one is that if you look at the double waveform that you are talking about, it will have an X and Y descent. That's what you are talking about. Double waveform, we are looking at what? X and Y descent. That's 2 pulsations per systole. X and Y descent. Unlike in carotid pulsation or carotid pulse, where there will only be what? A single pulsation per systole. Then the next one is that the jugular venous pulse varies with position. What does that mean? In the measurement of jugular venous pressure, the patient is put in an upright position, that is in the cardiac position. Why in the cardiac position? To ensure that the upper level of the jugular venous pulsation is located in the neck, because it is only at the level of the neck that you can see the upper level of the jugular venous pulsation. If you put the patient in the supine position, the upper level of the jugular venous pulsation will run beyond the angle of the jaw into the intracranial cavity where it cannot be seen. If you put the patient in the sitting position, it means with that, the upper level of the jugular venous pulsation will fall below the clavicle, and anything below the clavicle cannot be visualized. So the best position is to put the patient in the cardiac position. That is why we are saying that it varies with what? Position. With the second one, if you are correlating it to the carotid pulsation, definitely the carotid pulsation does not have any relationship with the position. The next one is that the jugular venous pulse, as we said, is impalpable. It is impalpable because if you put your hand there, you should not be able to palpate. So assuming you are palpating for a pulse in the neck, or you are examining a mass in the neck and you can feel pulsations, definitely it's not going to be a jugular venous pulse. Rather, it is going to be what? A carotid pulse. The next one is that it varies with respiration. And what is the algorithm? The algorithm is that with inspiration, the height of the jugular venous pulse would what? Decrease. And with expiration, the height of the jugular venous pulse would increase. So this is what we mean, that on inspiration, it decreases, and on expiration, the height of the jugular venous pulse increases. If it happens the reverse way, then it is a pathology. An example of that is when you have a paradoxical rise in the jugular venous pressure with inspiration. It is a pathology. We call that the Kussmaul sign. The Kussmaul sign. And for the Kussmaul sign, you will have it in conditions like tension pneumothorax, restrictive cardiomyopathy, constrictive pericarditis, acute severe asthma, and also cardiac tamponade. So those are pathologies. So if you are having an increase in the jugular venous pressure or an increase in the height of the jugular venous pulse with inspiration, which is abnormal, then we call that a Kussmaul sign. So normally, the jugular venous pulse, the height of it should increase with expiration and should decrease with inspiration. Then the next one we said, it is obliterated by pressure at the base of the what? Waveform, meaning that if you apply a slight pressure just above the clavicle, you don't expect the flow of blood from the right internal jugular vein into the superior vena cava. It will not happen because there has been an occlusion. So it means there will be a rise in the level of blood in the right internal jugular vein. That will constitute an increase in the jugular venous pressure. It means that for the jugular venous pulse, it can be obliterated by pressure applied just above the clavicle. Then finally, the last characteristic, as we already mentioned, is there's a transient rise in the height of the jugular venous pulse. That's a waveform with abdominal or hepatojugular reflux. Then the question is, what do we mean by hepatojugular or abdominojugular reflux? With hepatojugular reflux, what it means is that when the gentle pressure is applied at the right costal margin, we expect to see a rise in the jugular venous pressure for a short period, usually less than 10 seconds. But if you're having that rise in the jugular venous pressure for at least 15 seconds, or the rise in the jugular venous pressure is in excess of 3 centimeters of water, then we'll call that a positive hepatojugular reflux. And it's a pathology. It is a sign that is found in the pathology, and that is connotative of an early cardiac failure. What of the abdominojugular reflux? It's going to be the same thing, just that the pressure will not be applied this time around at the right costal margin, but it will be applied over the abdomen. And the whole ideology of the jugular reflux, the whole ideology with the hepatojugular reflux or the abdominojugular reflux is that the right internal jugular vein, or generally the internal jugular veins, are valveless, hence allow for the to and fro movement of blood in the veins. That is how important the valveless nature of the internal jugular veins play a key role in the hepatojugular or abdominojugular reflux. I believe we've learned something new today. Kindly make sure to subscribe to my channel, like, share, and also comment the concept you would like to see on my channel in the commentary section. My name is Dr. Del, and once again, this is Concept in Medicine. Bye-bye.